overwhelming amount of these guys into our rescue every year. Thankfully, Yeti was not a rescue. He came to us from a zoo in Florida. He is about 3 years old, and he is not even close to being done being grown. If you've been to the Academy of Sciences in San Francisco, you might be familiar with Claude. Claude is about 10 feet long, 11 feet long, and he's a large male albino alligator. So Yeti can absolutely potentially get to that size when he's a full-grown adult male. However, normal alligators, males get anywhere from 16 to 18 feet long and weigh over 800 pounds. That's not really an animal that does well when it's living in an aquarium, in somebody's stock tank, anything like that. Not an ideal animal, because raise your hand if you've ever heard it'll only grow. Peanut may not look like much right now, but this is the largest species of freshwater turtle we have in North America. As an adult male, he can get upwards of 200 plus pounds and live to be over 100 years old. So he is a very, very young male. Now these guys are restricted to own in the state of California, and they're actually endangered on a federal level. And the big issue that we're seeing is people are trying to catch these guys and take them out of the wild to either keep them or eat them. Now, with these guys on average, it takes them about 40 years before they can ever even reproduce. So we're taking all the big ones out of the wild before they ever get that chance. We're not able to let them keep up with nature. So eventually the whole goal with Peanut is to have him breed with a female and a male. So this species is not to be mistaken with the 9-banded armadillo that we actually find here in the United States. Roomba species is native to the tropical jungles of northern Brazil, and they have a wide variety of purposes for their respective environment. For starters, he's an insectivore. He's equipped with very large front claws that he uses to rip open termite mounds and uses a long worm-like tongue to eat upwards of 3,000 termites every single day in the wild. His other role is to promote new growth. When really rotting and ripe fruit falls from the jungle floor when he can reach it, he uses those claws to mush it up, and he eats the fruit and the seeds. What that does is allows the seeds to actually pass through digestion, and he poops them out, which lets new growth happen. But his most important role in the ecosystem is to be a scavenger. So yes, when animals pass away and they are beginning the process of decomposition, he again uses those big front claws to shred up the flesh and eat it, therefore helping that process in completion. So he is an omnivore. Now, believe it or not, he's actually part of a really unique family known as Xenarthra, which is a superorder. So his closest living relatives are anteaters and sloths. Think of them like Mother Nature's junk drawer, but they actually have quite a few things in common. Roomba has very bad eyesight, a wonderful sense of smell, no front teeth, and no enamel that covers his teeth. Their dental structure is actually the biggest thing that puts them all together in this super order. So if you ever see the skull of an anteater, armadillo, or sloth, you notice their back molars, rather than being flat, are actually sharp and jagged because there's no enamel to protect the wear and tear that happens over time. Now that being said, he does share the same environments as sloths. However, sloths live up in the trees, armadillos live on the ground. If you were to see the 9-banded armadillo here in the United States, I would advise you do not touch them. They are known to transmit leprosy. This species, though, does not. There are about 20 different species of armadillo, and this is the only species that can actually fully roll up into a ball. However, much like the hedgehog, he cannot physically roll around. This is for defensive and sleeping purposes in general. Once he is fully rolled up, you can find the strongest person you know, and you are not going to be able to pull that animal open. He will open when he wants. So, for potential predators, like predatory birds, what they do is they pick them up and drop them in the water, wait for them to open, and that's how they get their meal. It is also a myth that armadillos are bulletproof. That is not true at all. That shell that Brendan is actually scratching on, that's made of keratin. It's what's called an osteoderm. So, although it is tough and is strong, it is not able to withstand the bite of a jaguar or being consumed by a green anaconda or anything of that nature. Now he's primarily a nocturnal animal, so we're going to go ahead and let Roomba go back to sleep. And you guys are going to get to meet another nocturnal animal. However, we're most... So do not worry, he cannot spray you. Ernie is a 4-year-old male striped skunk. And we acquired a skunk in our program because the Department of Fish and Wildlife had asked us, hey, we're seeing a big trend of people taking skunks out of the wild to try and keep as pets. And so we're here to educate you about Ernie. Yes, he has an adorable face, but take a nice look at those giant front claws. Those are trimmed. Skunk claws are designed to rip up the earth because most people don't want them around your property. They're not going after your expensive plants or shrubs. They want the bugs beneath them. So they're ripping up the ground looking for bugs. But skunks are absolutely wonderful animals to have around, believe it or not. Take away the spraying and all that nastiness. Raise your hand if you like having wasps. Most people don't like wasps. Well, skunks will actually rip open their nests and eat the larva and the wasp's hole. They'll also eat rattlesnakes. Skunks are almost completely immune to rattlesnake venom, and so they'll also eat your rattlesnakes. If you don't want skunks and rattlesnakes around, then keep your great horned owls around because they'll take care of your skunks. Now, he cannot spray because that's something that no skunk in a setting is able to do. He is also vaccinated. One of the big reasons why people end up getting rid of these guys as they get older is because they get a nasty, nasty bite. Right now, this animal's bite can puncture leather. That's how strong their teeth are, and it's also designed for crushing bone, because they will also scavenge things. Now, in the wild, they are very shy, reclusive animals, and typically this nice black and white pattern and this big warning flag of a tail is a warning. This applies to everything except for dogs. I don't really have a justification of why dogs won't listen. But a skunk does not want to spray you. I repeat, they don't want to. What they want to do is use those big claws and those big teeth to tell you to go away. If something persists and keeps trying to eat them, then they will spray. It's not a big plume of gas like Pepe Le Pew. It's a hot, oily liquid that can spray up to about 10 feet. However, if they spray, they cannot spray for almost 2 weeks. So spraying is a last line of defense, and unfortunately dogs kind of cross that barrier and don't have much of a choice. Now he's a member of the weasel family, so he's related to otters, ferrets, badgers, wolverines, and all of them have a distinct kind of musky smell to them. Now that is an example of a native species we have in California. The next species that we're going to bring out is also a California native, and people tend to love these guys. I've yet to meet a single person that's ever said, I cannot stand this species of animal. Here in just a couple minutes, you guys are going to get to meet Marshmallow. And Marshmallow is a barn owl. Cue the hairy. Alright everyone, so this is Marshmallow. Marshmallow is a female barn owl. Barn owls are a species we have here natively in California, but as far as the species in general, they're actually the most widespread species of owl on the entire planet. You can find barn owls in Central America, South America, Europe, Australia. Their coloration will vary depending on the country or continent, but they're all the same species. As Brandy walks around with Marshmallow, you might notice that the top of Marshmallow's head is actually bald. And that's because the possession of any native bird like this is actually prohibited by the Department of Fish and Wildlife. You have to either have a zoological license, a falconer's permit, or an educator's permit. So unfortunately, Harry Potter has made owls insanely popular, and just to clear the air, Hedwig is not a barn owl, she's a snowy owl. But unfortunately, a barn felt the need to take Marshmallow out of the wild as a baby and put her on exhibit at their winery for a Harry Potter event. She was so popular that it just kept people coming in, but as she grew, they didn't expand the enclosure. So she's molded on top of her head because anytime she moved her head, she was just kept on a little wire crate, eroded completely raw and bloody. Unfortunately, she has molds in those feathers will never come back, but it does not affect her ability to eat. They also only gave her a stuffed animal to grip onto, so you also might notice that she can't fully grip onto Brandy's glove. So although she's flighted, she can never hunt for herself anymore. Now, for all reptile people here, does anyone here have to buy rodents for their reptiles? Yeah, rodents are expensive. This animal eats 4 mice every single day. Yes, you should say, that's right. And so that adds up very, very quickly, but predatory birds don't really have much of an option. They can gain and lose weight very rapidly. And so in response to that, they're actually all extremely successful hunters. If you were to hear an owl flap its wings compared to a hawk, a falcon, and an eagle, they make minimal noise in comparison because they are nocturnal hunters. The entire design of an owl is to fly from above, to impale and crush their food and fly away. Now, believe it or not, barn owls are one of the few species that can actually live together in small groups. Most other species of owl are solitary. And barn owls are a big prey item for great horned owls. Great horned owls actually fly above them and take them from out of the sky. And it is true that owls can turn their heads 270 degrees, but it's not going to just keep turning like it's in The Exorcist. It stops and goes back around. And the reason they can do that is because if you guys were to look straight ahead and you wanted to look to the left or right without moving your head, you can still shift our eyes. Owls' eyes are permanently fixed to the back of their skulls, and if you look in the back of their ears, you can actually see the back of their eyeballs, which is a really cool method of cooling them down to give it as like ear conditioning. Now, Marshmallow will be with us for the rest of our life, unfortunately. But this is an example of a species that is native that can never go back to the wild. So we are going to be on the stage with Yeti. Now, next after this, I want to thank you guys so much for coming out to the Reptile Expo. Sorry, love that Reptile Expo. But yes, we will be right up on the stage with Yeti. If you'd like to come get a closer photo, if you have any questions for us, what we do as an organization, anything like that, please feel free to. Thank you again. Please enjoy the rest of the expo. Go and learn all about all kinds of amazing reptiles from an amazing group of vendors. Thank you guys so much.